Hello everybody, Andy here from Glass Half Dead, the #1 kill team channel on the internet, unless you are aware of literally any other channel. Okay, today we're doing another gotcha guide, and I'm going to tell you what a gotcha guide is and what a gotcha guide isn't going to give you. Let's get straight into it. We don't want to dilly-dally. I'm doing 36 of these potentially, so let's not dwell. So, what is a gotcha? Gotchas are things that mess with you, not with them. If they buff themselves, that is not a gotcha. In learning a team's gotchas, you are also learning how to play the team. So yes, the title of this video is how to play, because that's what people are going to search when they search for these sorts of things. However, the thumbnail is gotcha guide. In this video, okay, you are going to learn the gotchas of the team, and in learning what a team can do against you and the things you need to look out for if you're actually looking to play that team, you're going to learn the things that you should be trying to do to other people. Quick note on what a gotcha is, of course, it's not a buff. If they are able to give themselves ceaseless or balanced or rending, that's not a gotcha. That's just a thing they can do. It's something that you will have to learn to be aware of, but it doesn't stop you from doing anything you need to do to enact your devious schemes. This is not a basics guide. You should understand the basics of playing kill team. I have of course done a how to play video. I've also done various other like line of sight videos, etc. If you're looking for the basics, this isn't going to be it. And not just the basics in the mechanics, but also kind of the basics in how to play kill team in general, right? You should also know your team. I can't refer to always a horde team, a normal team, an elite team into every team. I'm talking about the team and their gotchas. For you, if you're playing, for example, Deathcore, you need to know what your profile does to a Space Marine, if I'm talking about a Space Marine, or if you're playing an elite team, an Eldar, what does your team and how do they in general deal with a horde team or an elite, a Marine team? Equally, so that's your profiles. You also need to know like the basics of the enemies and how much you care about those. If you're playing Deathcore of Krieg, you need to be very aware of Blast. But if you're playing Marines, you don't care about Blast at all. You don't even have to ask the opponent, hey, do you have any Blast? You don't care. There you go. They can hit multiples of you. That's fine. And how that affects your team. What I'm saying in this guide is we're going to be looking at 5 different things. First, we're going to go over pre-game. This is going to affect your operative and your TAC-op selection. So as you rock up to the table with your opponent, you shake hands, you look them in the eye, you give them a dirty glare. And before you pick your team, here are the things you need to know to pick the operatives and the TAC-ops. Deployment. This is after you've picked. This is going to be things that define where you can move, firstly in deployment, but also going into your plan of turn 1. These will be things like seek light, ignore obscuring, because that will define where you can stand safely. Firefight is everything else. Basically, a gotcha here, we're just looking at things that define your dice maths. There you go. Finally, we have interrupts. Interrupts are things that stop your activation. These are the true things. These are the fight first, the hit twice, all these crazy things, stop you from activating, possibly even stop you from tapping a point, etc, etc. If you do like what I'm doing here on this channel in general, in this gotcha guide series, in this particular video, whatever, I do have a Patreon. Firstly, a shout out to all of my patrons. You are genuinely the only reason I am still making videos. If you would like to be somebody that makes me still make videos and, you know, donate to my hydration fund, thank you very much. Check me out on Patreon. I also do things like every week I give a rant on some subject or an update of the channel. And if you don't want to do that, you want to support in another way, I do have affiliate links to Element Games and Whaling Games in the UK. If you're UK based, the way that works, by the way, is you just click on the links below. It costs you nothing extra, and I get like a 2% kickback or something tiny in that, but it all adds up. Okay, with that said, let's get straight into... So the Legionary have quite a lot of rules, okay? But a lot of them aren't gotchas, as discussed. They are just things that they get to do to themselves and you have to deal with it. When it comes to their actual gotchas, we will obviously cover them now, but first the basic stat line. If you watched any others of these, they are an elite team. You need to know how to deal with 14 wounds with a 3-up save and APL 3. We all know that strug. Don't worry, we're all having the strugs. But do note that this is generally a relatively melee-heavy team. You won't probably be facing too many warriors, but when you do understand that they are basically the same as an assault intercessor with 5 dice hitting on 3s, 4, 5 with a chainsword, and you're not really that fussed about the warrior in particular's ranged weapons. Cool. We then go to the pre-game. What do you need to know when you're selecting your units? They have warded armor. This is a piece of equipment. Every turn they allow one of their models to get a 2-up save. You should think about this and think, they're probably going to put that on who it matters the most. At that point, you basically might as well not shoot that model. In addition, you can be Nurgle, they can be Nurgle, with an ability called, a ploy called Implacable. Implaceable? Implacable, yes. Where piercing 1 on all of your weapons becomes piercing crits 1. That, of course, means that you need to roll a 6, or, sorry, a crit. So if you have lethal 5 or severe, that works too, to get it to become piercing 1. This just means they're quite durable. This is, of course, a change that just happened in the Balanced Day slate. It was a nerf to them, and I really like it. I think it allows them to retain kind of that durability, but you should never be able to deny the power of a crit in Kill Team, and I really like that they've included that, so that's awesome. A crit still gives you that piercing 1 that you need. Nice. We then go to, well, there is no... You see, with deployment, there's nothing that they don't have any weird stuff. They don't remove obscuring. They have no seek light. They have no seek. There you go. So we just get straight into the firefight phase. You get to deploy as you want because they shouldn't have any shenanigans, should they? Because they're just really good in the data sheet. So we get the Shrive Talon operative, and he has an ability called Grizzly Mark. It costs him 2 APL to do this, but he will always do this. This is a brilliant, really tough maneuver to deal with. He will move up, he will then drop a token, and then there's a 3-inch aura from that token, so that's massive. And then if you are within that 3-inch aura, it costs you an extra AP to do a mission action, and when you're on an objective, you will count as 1 less APL when contesting. This is very good. You should expect the Shrive Talon to move very quickly to the central objective because that's where it's going to mess you up the most. They might potentially even set this up quite deliberately so they will reposition, you know, the forward deploy, the 3-inch dash, the Shrive Talon to make sure that with only a single reposition action of 6 inches, they are able to get their Grizzly Mark on the central. This is very strong. It means that they basically are guaranteed to be able to control the central objective. It's really gonna, you're really gonna struggle. Even with a 3 APL team, you're really gonna struggle to take the central objective if they do that to you. We then get the Balefire Acolyte. This is your Psyker, but also your healer. So they have an ability called Siphon Life. Now, I wouldn't, you know, on a lot of teams, they have medics. I would never put a medic as a gotcha, okay? Even though it can be quite surprising when the medic does what medics do, which is revive, so stop a kill, and then heal. But for Balefire Acolytes, for this really tough, durable team, it's a bit crazy. In fact, I think that's what we're going to be looking at. It is what we're going to be looking at when we get to the table in the Diabolical play. But the Balefire Acolyte has an ability called Siphon Life. This can be done both with a melee weapon and also with one of their ranged weapons. You select an operative, a friendly operative, within 6 inches of the Balefire Acolyte, and then every normal you resolve will heal 1 damage, and every critical you resolve will heal D3 damage. So keeping in mind that you have to resolve the dice, not just have it there, right? Although, now that I think about it, if you're resolving, you can block it out, because blocking is still resolving. Okay, all right, well, never mind that then. They get to heal very easily, basically. And both of their attacks, both in melee and in range, are 5 dice, so that's really good for them, not for us. Then we get to the interrupts. So the Chosen, this is one of the leader options, and it is the one that currently everybody is going with because it's very, very good. Yeah, so the Chosen has 2 abilities that we're going to look at here. First is the Demonic Aura. Within 3... Oh, no, not within 3. When you are in control range, if you want to fall back, you have to roll a 3-up, basically. Now, that's fine. Cool. You won't take any damage. You won't lose an APL for doing it. Normally, I wouldn't bother considering this an interrupt. However, much like with the healing not normally being an interrupt, with the Chosen model specifically, this is tough. If you are unable to fall back from the Chosen is one of the models in the game that can one-shot 8 wound models. We'll talk about that soon. And you can just end up basically, if you're blocked from falling back, you can't possibly attack the Chosen and you will have to just pass, because otherwise you will die and heal him. Also, he has something called Unending Bloodshed. Sorry, I'm specifically putting this under the Chosen because this means that if he's Khorne, which he can be, he can hit on death. So if you make him Khorne, again, a lot of Khorne's abilities are not gotchas. It just means they do more damage more consistently. And with this guy, you can hit on death. Oh, well, with any Khorne operative, you can hit on death. It just means that the Chosen requires so many resources to deal with that he himself is a gotcha. And there's no amount of resources in the terms of CP that you need to put into the Chosen to, like, he will never not get his points back, basically. He does an absolutely amazing job. He is insane. And we haven't even talked about how he heals. That's going to come later. We then have the Butcher. So he has 2 abilities we care about here. No, he's got 1, sorry. It's the Devastating Onslaught. That's his... As an operative, he just hits you quite hard. Not a big deal. But his Devastating Onslaught is an actual gotcha. It's an interrupt. So when you... At the end of every model's activation on your side, which is their enemy, at the end of every enemy activation or counteract, you can charge 2 inches, and then if you couldn't do that because you're on a conceal, you can swap order. This makes him an amazing zoning piece, because if you ever finish within 2 inches to shoot him and don't then kill him, he will charge you. There you go. Don't forget that when you're charging, of course, you get the 2-inch charge, but you actually have a 3-inch threat range, so that's a pretty big little aura he's got of a 6-inch bubble threat range, you know. Cool. Well, his base is 1.5 inches, so you get it. And then we have the Shrive Talon. This guy has something called Vicious Reflexes, and it just lets him strike first, which is, of course, very good. There you go. All right, with that said, let's take it over to the table. Let's take a look at the Diabolical player. We're going to be looking at just how durable the Chosen can be when you know what you're doing. Let's just have a quick look at the kind of crazy combo these guys can do. So the Patriarch is literally the toughest model in the game, potentially. Most killy, most durable, etc. So we're going to shoot 5 dice, saturate, doesn't matter. Cool, that is a crit, 4 hits. Saves on 4s, blocks 2. We will block 2, that's 3, 6, 9 damage plus a crit. So that's 1, 2, and D3 healed. 2. So firstly we will pick this, we will heal the Chosen for 4 health. The Chosen is then going to charge and fight. 5 dice hitting on 3s, lethal 5. Patriarch has 5 dice hitting on 3s, rending, relentless. Okay, no crits. Oh, brilliant. Well, this is going to go great for him then, isn't it? Natural rolls, baby. This is how it goes. Normally this Chosen is 4-7, but he's Khorne, and we played deployed, so he's actually 5-8. And the first time we hit, he gets +1 damage. So his first damage is 9. Doesn't matter what this guy does. He can block. He can't block a crit. He messed up, is what it is. So we hit for 9. We hit for 16. We kill. Nothing he can do about it. And then because we got the kill, we heal for D3 +1 points. We heal for 2. Biggest stat line in the game, completely irrelevant. And that, folks, focuses and foci, is the Legionary Diabolical play.